Start, excuse me. Okay, got it. Hi, everyone. What, you're laughing at me already. You're going to have to edit this out. Hi, everyone. I'm Chandler Mars, founder of Old Ladies Lift, the premier site for older women who lift heavy stuff. I'm speaking today to a co-conspirator, Larnie Mulday, now known, I guess, as the Power Lady. She's a fellow lifter, power lifter, also beginning her journey into the strongman world, and an author of a book called Standing in Strength. We're going to talk today to Larnie about the book and her adventures in lifting and everything else. So welcome, Larnie.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for letting me be part of this group, this really amazing group. It's always fun to come on this group and on this interview.
It is. And you're welcome. I have a good time on this group too. So, Larnie, tell us about yourself. Who are you?
Who am I? So I am Larnie Mulvey. I am 44 years old, going to be 45 here in November.
A baby.
Yes, I know. I'm baby. I'm like just, the toe into the older ladies. That's okay. That's all right. I'm out of the Chicagoland area, and I have been powerlifting since 2019 only, and really have just turned it into like a big passion of mine, because as when I was younger, I wasn't allowed to do anything. I wasn't allowed to do any sports, but I always knew I was going to be an athlete. I just didn't know what athlete I was going to be. And, it just happened to be like, now people do consider me an athlete now
well, a 400-pound deadlift, I think, qualifies you as an athlete.
It's very fun to like do this, because not only do I get to like understand that my body is so capable of doing so much more, but now it's opening up my interests and the community of different strength sports too, because I was never able to play sports when I was younger. I wasn't allowed to. And I've always wanted to do something active in athletics and sports. And it just took 44 years to figure it out.
So was that culturally you weren't allowed to? Was it family?
So I was born in the Philippines. Mm-hmm. And I moved to the States when I was 5. And when I moved to the States, it was almost a shell shock for me, because I had no idea where I was supposed to be. Like, I came to the States in like the late 80s, and I didn't see many Asian women on TV. I didn't see many Asian women in magazines or anything like that. So I didn't have that representation of, some people could be like, oh, I want to be like Oprah or whatever. But for me, I was like, I don't know. I don't know where I want to be.
Yes, that must be difficult.
Yeah, it was hard because I just didn't know. And like, my parents worked so hard, and so I like really didn't see them. But then when I went to school, that was like, oh my gosh, I have a weird name, or a different name. And
I don't know that it's any different than mine. I mean, certainly mine is a guy's name, so exactly. But anyway, your story.
The 2 A's used to throw people off all the time.
I'm sure it did.
They were just like, but it was funny, like to actually come to America. And then like the first thing my grandma gave me was a pair of shoes. And I never wore shoes in the Philippines. Like, I was a barefoot kid running around like crazy. And then coming here, and then to the States, going to school, it was such like, I didn't know what to do. And so I was like, I was already like a loud kid. But then when I started assimilating into the culture, I think I made myself like, don't be loud, don't say anything, because that's kind of that underlying cultural thing for us, for being Filipino. We're just like, don't say much, don't ruffle any feathers. It was like that for me growing up. So it was very hard to be an athlete and to be active when I couldn't do it because I wasn't really supposed to do it.
Interesting. So I think a lot of women, particularly of my age group and older, although there wasn't a culture shock, and those of us growing up in the U.S. like you had, a lot of us, there were female sports. There were specific sports that women can play, but as far as being allowed to compete in many of the different sports, I mean, there's just a small sector.
Right.
Until I think it was my junior, senior year, or maybe my sophomore year in college, until Title IX passed in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
All of the sports were just kind of, they had some club sports, they had this, they had that. And certainly, I swam my entire life. That was one of the allowed sports. But, I wanted to play water polo, and that was not something that was allowed for women or young girls. And so there's been a huge transition over the last 30 years or so, allowing women to participate in these things. But even so, it's still more rare to have female lifters than male lifters. I mean, it's slowly changing, and certainly to have older female lifters, it's considered a novelty. You're a unicorn. Hey, look at you, you can lift, that's cool, but nobody else does this.
Right.
And as you know from our group, there's a lot of women that do this. And part of the adventure is just bringing their stories like yours to bear. So I remember when you joined Old Ladies Lift, and I remember when you first started lifting, and I think I probably said this to you because I remember watching you deadlift, excuse me, and bench, and it was like, she's going to be good at this. You had the body type, the composition, the mechanics of these things that so many of us struggle with, to where I had a sense that you were going to be really good, and to take only 2 years to get to a 400-pound deadlift. That's remarkable.
Yeah, I was excited for that. When I started competing, it was that first competition, I was like, you get really, really nervous, and you want to know every number that your coach gives you. What is it? And I got to the point where I told my coach, I'm like, I just want to know my openers, because I don't want to know my second and third attempts, because it like screws with my mind.
Does? Yeah.
Like I saw myself fail 360 in training, but then I can go pull 400. Like, what the heck?
That's the benefits of a deload and the magic of the platform, and so that's remarkable. And so let's talk about a few other things before we get more back to lifting. You've recently published a book. Tell us about that and what motivated it.
It's right there. It's called Standing in Strength.
Oh, it's on my left.
It's right here. I have it. Look, I even like tag the different things that okay, so this book is a collaborative book. There's seven women that collaborated in this book. And I've always wanted to write a book, but I didn't want to just write a book just to be like, hey, yeah, I wrote a book. Cool. I wanted to write a book that was going to provide value, that was going to provide some encouraging words to the world, but also give people examples of how movement and how sport can propel you forward, to get you over obstacles, to get you over like the authors. There's the 7 different authors. Some of us go through body shaming, some of us go through bullying, and some of us go through, even in their older life. I have one author in here. She's a mother. She's got 2 sets of twins, Chandler.
Oh my goodness, that poor woman. I have 1 set of twins, just for those of you who don't know. I love them dearly, but the first 5 years were absolute hell. So I can't imagine.
So she's got 2 sets of twins, and she wanted to be active, and she was being judged of being an active mother.
Oh, wow.
Like, oh my God, you're doing so. But then I have another athlete who wrote in the book that she's an Athena triathlete, and she can't find clothes that fit her. She can't find gear that fit her. And so she went out and searched and was pretty much like a voice for the Athena like weight class for triathlete to get more gear for them. So I like that this group of women really shows that they can be creative, they can be strong throughout all these challenges. And really what helped them was being active, was moving, was, you know, there's a sailor in here, and the person who wrote my foreword is Courtney Olson. And if you don't know Courtney Olson, she is the lady with the most deadliest thighs. She crushes the watermelons with her thighs. And she is the owner and founder of Girl Clothing. And the reason why I found out about Girl Clothing was I was Googling one day, clothes for broad-shouldered women.
I've never thought to Google that.
I couldn't find any clothes. I mean, God forbid.
I have that same problem, hence the sleevelessness.
Yes. That's why I'm always wearing sleeveless. It's like, God forbid I wear a button-down shirt.
You know, even when I wasn't a power lifter, I've always had broad shoulders because I was a swimmer, and they've never fit.
I'm just a short, stockier woman. I'm just bigger in general.
Yeah.
And, you know, to add more muscle on it, it's like, oh my goodness, God forbid you find a shirt that doesn't have stretch. It's like, oh my goodness gracious. But when I asked Courtney Olson to write the foreword of this book, it was definitely a Hail Mary because I didn't know her. But I followed her vision of empowering young girls to be the strongest version of themselves. And that's really where Standing in Strength came from, because it took me an eternity in my mind, an eternity to find a community like powerlifting that we all stand in our strengths. And it really inspired me to build another community, to connect all the strong communities. And that's really why I wrote I got this Standing in Strength book and asked all these different women, because I want everyone to see that we can all stand in strength together.
And I think that's the important part. And I think that's what we try to evoke in Old Ladies Lift, is this appreciation for the strength of women, not just the physique. And certainly there are women who compete in physique, and we can, you know, appreciate that. But I think overall the message is that you can be strong, and you are strong, and it's okay to be strong. And so I think we're succeeding in that. And I like that you wrote a book about that, you know, because I think women and young girls, but even as older women, we need to be reminded that it's okay to be strong and to take up space. And I think, that's just wonderful.
Yes. It's just a great reminder for everyone, at least for me. Like, it was a good reminder for me to know that I'm not alone, to know that there are other women, there's other communities out there. And now that I've done a few powerlifting meets, it's like, oh, I know you from there. I know you from there. It's so cool. I love it. And now that I'm dabbling into the strong man competition, it's like, all of a sudden my Instagram page has other followers. It's like, oh, okay, hey, hi. You know, it's really such a, the strength community to me is just very welcoming, and nobody ever wants you to fail. You know, everybody, you know, we cheer you on, you make your attempt, you may not succeed, but it's like, you know, you'll get it next time. Next time. And I think that's why I love the strength sports, or anything related to strength. That's why I talk about it so much, and you know, I try to involve myself in a whole bunch of strong things as much as
let me ask you, how so you're probably, if you're 45 now, you were 43 when you started, or thereabouts. How did you come to find powerlifting? I mean, all of us kind of stumble into this in some manner. Yeah. The stories are quite remarkable. So how did you stumble into powerlifting?
I literally did stumble into powerlifting because I was putting on my work boots and I felt like I could not reach my work boots. And my work boots they were steel toe and they were just heavy. And then I think one day I was like tying my boots and, I was like, I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to look for a personal trainer and I'm going to do something. And since I was younger, I've always wanted to compete on something. And I'm looking at all the trainers on the board. And this one trainer, she is a USAPL powerlifter, competed. I go, that's her.
That's really? So you really knew nothing. You just decided we're going to do this.
Like, that's her. That's who I'm going to talk to. And honestly, I was her only client.
Oh, wow.
And because, we talk about like people being afraid of powerlifting. She put powerlifting on her credentials. And I guess, people, powerlifting. I don't know about that, I was like, let's go. I said, let's go. Let's do this. And March 2019, she's like, let's see where you're at. So, get the bumper plates and stuff like that. She's like, you're a lot stronger than you think you are. And I ended up changing coaches because she went to grad school, and she was the one that really talked me into doing a mock meet. Okay. You should do a mock meet. If you've always wanted to compete, just try a mock meet and see how you feel about it. And as soon as I transitioned to this different coach and to my coach now, and then I did the mock meet in November of 2019, I was like, oh gosh, where has this been all my life? Cool. It was an awesome experience. And, 2020 happened. So we didn't really do much.
Yes. And so the world shut down.
And I was supposed to compete in March 2020. And they moved that all the way to November 2020. So, it just kept going. And I'm looking forward to more competing of something, that's why I think I want to do strongman. I was like, you know what? Why not? I'm going to try it. Why not? It's the same thing I did about powerlifting.
Wonderful that you're starting the strongman. I mean, that looks like so much fun. And I think we've talked before that a lot of us on our Facebook page, we all want to pull cars. I mean, just as kind of a marker of strength or the semi or something, and there's a few women that have done it. Yeah. And there's probably half a dozen I can recall that there may be more, but that at least have posted videos of, being totally badass and just pulling a truck or something across the road. So I think that's really cool. So you talked about how you love powerlifting. What is the thing is there anything you don't like about it? Are there things that you think need to improve, particularly for women?
I think right now, since I am still new, per se, I'm enjoying every bit of it. What I feel should be around more is those. I get asked a lot about, what's powerlifting like? Like, what is it like? And I feel that more opportunities for education to women in general and the benefits of strength training, I feel like that should be around more, I think, because I know when I didn't know what I was doing, I was nervous. I was like, what am I doing? I have no idea. I was just following this program, and I had to really learn more about powerlifting before I started powerlifting, I guess. Like, I just kind of looking around and asking questions. And I feel like those kinds of educational programs, just to, just let women know that there's other things that they can try. I think that should be available. And I think it's not that I don't like, I love powerlifting. It's just, there's just little bits and pieces that are missing. And
I agree. And
like little gaps.
that's why we started Old Ladies Lift, was particularly to have examples and role models of older women who are doing this. And because this is an interesting journey that none of us has a roadmap for, really.
Right.
And I think particularly those women who started later in life, and who've had a few injuries, had lived a life, have had, marriages, divorces, illnesses, they've lived the life. Their bodies have lived the life. And then they come to powerlifting, and there's the videos online are all of teeny little women with big butts or big hairy men, and so there's that dichotomy, and it makes it difficult to conceptualize yourself as a power lifter, as an older power lifter, when those are the only models out there. And so I wanted to see other women lifting. I didn't know we'd have as many as we have now. I mean, I think it's 11.3.
I love that it's growing. There's just so many. And I if I could high five every single member, I totally would.
Oh, I totally would. And I get so excited, seeing their success. The other day when Terry posted, what was it, 425 or 435?
It's one of those. It was in the
one of those. And she's 63, and she's been a 400-pound deadlifter for a while, but had hit a plateau. And it just flew up, and I was like high-fiving, as soon as I read her text, I'm like, yeah, and I do that with all of the lifters, if you're lifting 95 pounds or 495 pounds, each of these little successes is it's fun, it's wonderful to watch, it's inspiring.
I think what gets forgotten, especially when we get older, is that we don't give ourselves enough credit.
Or any credit.
It's like we forget that we can still accomplish stuff.
Exactly.
And I think that's one of the loves that I have for powerlifting, is like, you can accomplish it. You can. It takes time, but you can accomplish.
You can improve. There are challenges and goals, and you can meet those challenges. And just like as if you were younger, you just, one foot in front of the other, one barbell lift in front of the other, and it eventually gets to where you want to go if you're consistent. Right. And I absolutely agree with you. We do not give ourselves credit. And I know that I do that to myself all the time. I will have a PR and I'll be, but it's not what I want it to be. Or, it took 3 years to get to this number. So it doesn't count somehow because it took longer. Or, and then there's the whole body image thing associated with it, I pulled this, but look at that belly roll, or look at that thigh. Somehow that diminishes the accomplishment. And I have to work very hard not to let that get in my head. And we try to do that in the group, not let it get into the collective consciousness of other women. But it's very difficult as a woman not to think of those things.
Yeah. I was on a podcast a few weeks ago, and the host asked me, she's like, do you show your arms all the time? I said, yeah, pretty much. And she was looking through my Instagrams, and my Instagram, I only have one Instagram. Okay. And I have a hashtag on there. It's a flex anytime, anywhere, any day.
There you go.
And she's like, do you flex all the time? I go, pretty much.
You got it, flaunt it.
I mean, I have to look, I just kind of take a peek. There's
a little bit of muscle. It's covered in fluff, but it's under there. It's doing its job. Yeah, I still am envious of the women who are not covered in fluff. But
yeah, at times I am, and then at times I'm just like, This is the
Yeah,
body. This is the body that God gave me. I'm going to work with
exactly.
it.
And that's what I got to work with. And it does things. And I'm always amazed when the barbell goes up. And
Yeah.
that's the other thing. I mean, when I first started lifting, and I would, was gradually improving and so on and so forth. And each new milestone was met. I would sit back in a state of kind of humility, if you will. It's like, wow, that went up, that with all the other things going on in my life, that barbell went up. Isn't that awesome? And it's this kind of unexpected, beauty of the moment that the body somehow finds a way
Yeah.
to lift it, no matter what else is going on. It may be ugly too, and the lift is not always pretty, but you lifted it.
Yeah.
And that's wonderful.
I think you said it right there. Like it's the beauty of the body moving.
Yeah.
And I think I am an athletic trainer by education. So I've been in sports medicine for over 15 years. And I see like athletes, amazing things that athletes can do, even though they're college kids, but like it's just amazing what the body can do and how it can trot and then speed up and then trot. And like those kinds of things to me are amazing. And so when powerlifting came around, it's that weight in my mind. I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know. And then boom, it goes up.
And so I remember, what was the very first time you deadlifted? Do you remember what your weight was? The very first time, not a PR type of thing, but
not a PR.
First time you picked up a barbell in a deadlift.
I think it was just the plates. I think it was
like 135. So you went right to one. See, mine was like 65 pounds, and then I remember a workout where 95 pounds, and it was just like, wow, that's impressive. And this is heavy, and now I'm not as heavy as you now. I'm only at 350, but still
good.
But the progression though, I remember those increments, and I remember the first kettlebell that I ever swung, and it was 15 pounds. And I thought I was going to throw it across the room because my grip strength was so pathetic. I thought it was not that it was particularly heavy, just that I couldn't hold on to it. And now I regularly swing them over 100 pounds and it's no big deal. But just, I think a lot of things when women start this, they see what you've done after 5 years and they think, well, I could never do that. But you got to remember that we all started at the beginning, and some of us had a quicker trajectory than others, or started a little bit higher, but most of us started with pretty low weights. And so I think that's important to remember for all the newbies that may be considering here, that, as an older woman, you're going to progress, but you have to start at the beginning, and that beginning is going to be possibly very light weights, but it goes up quickly with consistency.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what happened to me. Like I only train 3 times a week. Like I don't go anymore. I mean, sometimes I'll go more, but 3 times a week, to make sure I get my big lifts in, and my body needs
the rest,
those days in between to really, really recover well. So I don't, some people, hey, you can go 5 days a week. Great. Do you. You do you. For me, 5 days a week, I would be crawling. I would be crawling up my stairs. Like, oh my God.
I am crawling up my stairs sometimes. But yes, that's another story altogether. So as we finish up, Larnie, is there anything else you would like, any insight that you would like to impart on the world of female powerlifters, women who are contemplating joining a powerlifting program, maybe the first meet or any of that? What would you like to tell women?
I would like to tell them to try it, and find a community like the Old Ladies Lift group where you can ask questions, where somebody asks, like, what is that rough part on the bar? like people want to know. I mean, if you're really
Exactly.
interested,
Yeah.
that's something that when you find a community that is supportive and you can ask questions like that, even though for some of us who are more seasoned know what that is, but the women who don't, the women who really don't know, but they're curious, let's get them understanding what powerlifting is, or lifting, or training in general, because really it's just going to benefit their function at the end. You don't have to compete, you don't have to powerlift, you don't have to do strong, you don't have to do like CrossFit, but the function of weight training, of lifting, really is just going to benefit you in the end.
Oh, in so
um,
many ways.
in
Yes.
so many ways, like carrying your groceries, going up and down the stairs. My grandmother was 89, maybe 90 something when she died, but she was still up and at it. And I always told myself, like, when I get in that higher age, I still want to be able to go up and down the stairs without a cane. I like in my
It's a
mind.
good goal.
And I really like I bad genes run in my family, and I really think that powerlifting and just strength training in general has not only like saved my health, but it saved my mind as well. And it's really put me in a different trajectory on who I see myself, the vision of what I want in my life. And so there's so many things about strength sports that have taught me that transfers in my life in general. So I think sharing the strength with others is very important, whether it's, training or anything like that. It's just another pillar for someone to be strong. So
Exactly.
yeah.
Well, Larnie, thank you for giving me the time, allowing me to interview. Thank you for joining Old Ladies Lift and helping me on this adventure of our new podcast.
Yes,
So
a really cool things.
it is a cool thing. I hope folks listen. So a few things that we should talk about. We have a website, oldladieslift.com, and on that website, you can see lifting videos of women doing remarkable things of all age and weight classes. There are athlete bios, so you can read about their stories. And of course, we have a whole bunch of t-shirts that are really cool.
Yeah.
And you should buy some because that pays for all of this stuff.
Yeah.
And we also have, as we've mentioned before, the Facebook group. It's a private Facebook group. No men, no one under 40 is allowed there. It's a wonderful, safe space to learn about powerlifting, to post your accomplishments, to share your struggles, and to just generally be with other strong women and learn from them. So we have that. We have this YouTube channel. Be sure to subscribe, like, share, do whatever you're supposed to do. And just remember our slogan, which I just absolutely love. This was a moment of brilliance, and I have to take credit for this because I came up with this slogan. But age is inevitable, weakness is not. And that's really the key to all of this. You don't have to be weak as you get older. You don't have to be weak at any time in your life.
Yeah.
You can be strong and you can own that strength. So come join us in this adventure. And thanks, everyone.
Make sure you guys like and subscribe on the YouTube channel, please. And
please.
Also,
I forgot stuff.
Go on Old Ladies.
She's in charge of the podcast, by the way. We're for the whole world. I'm interviewing her because we need to, she deserves to get the spotlight for a while, so that we know all about her as she continues to interview all of us going forward.
Yes.
So, go back.
So, please if you want to be featured on the YouTube, Old Ladies Lift YouTube channel, feel free to submit your PR videos, training videos, living room PRs, training videos. We even have a playlist of training videos that if you want to share, that's going to be beneficial for the group. And we can put that on the playlist. Send that to Larnie.oldladieslift oldladieslift@gmail.com. I will make sure to put all that information into the description so you guys can send those videos to us, and also submit your bios and stories on that can be featured on the oldladieslift.com page. So check out both things, and let's get more of us out there representing a different age group. We can't be forgotten. We're right here. We're not going anywhere.
Exactly. So again, to sum up, age is inevitable and weakness is not. There you go.
All right, you guys, this is our episode of Old Ladies Lift Chat. We will see you guys all soon. And if, again, come join the interviewing with me and Chandler, because it's fun and we get to know you and the other members as well. So we'll talk to you guys soon. Have a wonderful day, everybody.